Good morning, Rabotai.
Good morning.
Beruchim Abayim to everybody. Tuesday, the 23rd day of Shevat, corresponding to the 29th day of January. The Lighthouse project, the Eilu Nishmat, Devora Feiga Bat Shemuel Alei Shalom. We also dedicate today's class for the Refuah Shlema of a young child, Yeshua ben Rachel, that is about to have a medical procedure, as well as the Refuah Shlema of David Menachem ben Deborah Leah, as well as the Refuah Shlema of Sion ben Sarah. Be'ezrat Hashem, they all have Refuah Shlema of Am Israel.
Amen.
Amen. So we continue, we're reaching the final few messages of the great Rabbi Chaim Palachi, discussing the suggestions of the time of the Shovavim. And it says that a person in these few weeks should make the effort, when possible, to go up to the Sefer Aliyah Shishi, to receive the sixth Aliyah of the Shabbat reading. And the reason why makes emphasis for the topic of the sixth reading of the Sefer is because the sixth Aliyah is connected to Yosef HaSaddik. Every Aliyah of the Sefer, especially Aliyah number 1 to Aliyah number 7, they all have Tzaddikim connected to them. For example, based on this, we say the first Aliyah Abraham, second Aliyah Ishaq, third Aliyah Yaakov, fourth Moshe, fifth Aharon, sixth David, and the Shevi'i is David HaMelech alav shalom. Obviously, now that I said this, everybody's going to go to the Mesader and he says, I want Aliyah Shishi. Not a problem. You can ask. Doesn't mean that you're going to get it. Okay? But Benporat Yosef, since especially this time of the year, we have several minyanim on Shabbat morning, so probably one of the 4 or 5 minyanim, you should be able to get this particular aliyah. But why does he say that a person should make the effort to go up to the Sefer on the 6th aliyah? Short answer, because the 6th aliyah is connected to Yosef HaSaddik, the topic of Yesod that I touched very briefly inside in the main shul when I talked about how the Yesod, the foundation of holiness, is specifically the Berit Milah. So somebody may ask, Rabbi, what happens if my 6th aliyah is not available? I want to go to the 6th aliyah. I went to the Mesader. He says, I'm sorry, 20 people ahead of you all ask the same aliyah. So I give you a suggestion. Maybe the shul wants to sell the 6th aliyah, and then people buy it. But we're not going to sell it, we're not going to change our tradition. But I tell you something that is in my mind as I'm speaking, that perhaps open the Humash, okay? Open the Humash and read the 6th aliyah of the Perashah. Because every Perashah of the week has a aliyah, as in a 6th aliyah. Now, I know that today is only Tuesday, but we know that every single Shabbat, according to the Syrian tradition specifically, we have the concept of makam. Makam means what? The particular tune that we're going to use on Shabbat. So this particular Shabbat is makam Saba. Saba means the Milah tune. The tune of the Milah is the highlight of this week. This is how the Makamat goes. And always they are related to the Perashah of the week. And then our mission, our duty will be to find what part of the Perashah connects to that particular makam. Another makam that we have, it's Ajam. Usually this makam is a very festive type of makam. Whenever we have a holiday The second day, usually it goes on that particular makam. So what's the difference between these two makams? Saba is for Berit Milah. I'll give you a free sample. Okay? For example, Kila Monaya Meluchel Moshel Bagoim. That's a makam, Saba. Day, 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 day. The tune of the Berit Milah. And listen to this pasuk. Aliyah of Shishi. The Aliyah of Shishi of this parasha is what? Hine Anochi Sholeach Malach Lefanecha. I'm hereby sending you a malach lishmorcha badarech, to protect you in your journey, belahaviyacha el makom asher hachinoti, and to bring you to the place that I prepared for you. This is the beginning of the sixth aliyah. What pasuk? As soon as I started to read, what pasuk from the Tanakh came to your mind? I know what you're thinking. Hine anochi sholeach lachem et Eliyah hanavi. I'm hereby sending you, same language. Eliyahu hanavi. What is Eliyahu hanavi connected to? Hazak u'baruch. You understand? Now, this is the pasuk that talks about the sixth aliyah. Now, what is the sixth aliyah in this particular parasha talks about? You'll be surprised. Personal holiness. Staying away from Avodah Zarah, staying away from idolatry, against assimilation, but serving Borei Olam. Ba'avatem et Hashem Elokecha, will serve the Almighty. Uberach et lachmecha bet memecha, and Hashem will bless us, our bread, our water means our life. Va'asiroti mahala mikirbecha, and I will remove the illness from your life. This is the conclusion of the sixth aliyah of this week's Torah portion. So if you are lucky enough and fortunate enough to go ahead and receive the aliyah of Shishi, matov mana'im. But even if you don't get it, don't make mahloket out of it. It's no good to make mahloket for an aliyah. Open the Humash and read it. And it says, I will remove the illness from within you. The Gemara says that the word mahala equals numerical value 83. And how do you remove 83 medical conditions that can develop in the digestive system of the human body? Short answer, breakfast. Pad shaharit, known in English as breakfast. Beautiful, beautiful pirush from the great Rabbi Haim Palachi. And he continues, Amen. And he continues with giving more benefits. And it says that this zechut, if a person has the opportunity of going up to the Sefer Torah during the 8 weeks of the Shovavim, and if for some reason a person did not go to the Aliyah for a month or two, don't feel embarrassed of approaching the Mesader and tell them, listen, I have a yortzeit coming up, or I haven't had an Aliyah in a long time. Is there an Aliyah available? Because unfortunately, Al-Mesadarim try to do an excellent job every time that the Sefer comes out, but Ben Porat Yosef, with so many people, so many visitors, so many residents from the north, from the south, from the east and the west, sometimes someone could be missed. So if you happen to have a need, especially to go to the Sefer, if you have a yortzeit, etc., feel free to approach one of the Mesadarim and they will try to accommodate to the best of their abilities. But it says here, now that you received an aliyah to the Sefer, הבטה באותיות הספר תורה, בתיבותיהם והקריאה, אהנה לב. The Moed Kol Chai says, remember to activate a 3-level exercise. Number 1, look, when you get the aliyah to the Sefer, Look inside of the Sefer Torah. Look at the letters. Look at the words. And read with the Baal Koreh, Ahanele. This will bring great spiritual benefit to the person. Behavali taher mesayein oto min hashamayim. And the person who wants to purify themselves from the heavens, the person will be helped as well. And you may ask, why so much emphasis we make into looking at the letters of the Sefer Torah? You ever see whenever the Sefer Torah comes out, people make the effort to look at the Sefer, to look for the letter of your first name, or when you get an aliyah? One answer is that looking at the letters of the Sefer Torah, that purifies the eye of the person. The eye, as we know, could be great or could be our worst enemy. That's why so much is mentioned about Shemirat Ha'inayim, that a person should be careful what they look at. So let's say that we look at something inappropriate or something problematic or forbidden. How do we purify the eye? The milah can be purified by going to the mikveh, or washing your hands 40 times, the way we discussed last week. But how do you purify your eyes? Short answer, with letters of Torah, letters of Tefillah, and letters of the Sefer Torah. And that's why he says to make the effort. Now, he continues, we still have another few ideas, and it says the concept of reading Perashah with Targum. I'm sure you do this already, but just in case, I'll remind myself, what does it mean? The Gemara says, Hayav Adam Ligmor Perashiotav im Asibur, Shenai Mikra ve'Achat Targum. A person has an obligation to read twice the Perashah in Hebrew, plus one time with Targum, like the Hokli Israel is already made up, weekly. Why? Shekol HaMashlim Perashiotav im Atzibur, because a person that follows the weekly reading of the Sefer parallel to the Sibur, Ma'arichim lo yamav ushnotav. The zechut of the Sibur, reading this Perashah on a Shabbat, it brings longevity to the person. And I know that this may sound a bit challenging for a lot of people. Some people may struggle with the reading. But the idea is that we need to have an understanding what is the Perashah of the week is all about. And it says that a person should make the effort on a regular basis to read Perashah with Targum, to read together with the Aventura. And one of the things that he says is that when a person finishes the reading of Perashah and Targum, which usually is done by Friday morning, because the idea is to finish the Perashah before Shabbat day, that a person gives some charity also after the reading of Perashah with Targum. And he even gives an interesting formula, the concept of giving charity and have in mind many pure thoughts. Number one, it says, Lekabes nithe Israel. When you give charity, have in mind that in the zechut of the charity, may Hashem gather all the Yehudim which are scattered through the four corners of the world. Bekabes nidahenu me'arba kamfot ha'aretz le'arsenu. What is the meaning of that sentence? It's from the Amidah. Hashem gathers us from the four corners of the world back to Eretz Israel. And he goes on, and it says that giving tzedakah and keeping quiet about the tzedakah, it is a great merit. The same way that people don't publicize that when they go to the mikveh, don't publicize when you give charity. Especially if you give charity to help someone truly in need, keep it quiet. Why? Because the more seni'ut, the more modesty we have when it comes to do mitzvot, the more benefit the mitzvah brings upon the person. One more concept that I'm not sure that many people do, he says about, again, the topic of fasting. The topic of fasting, but it says, if a person cannot fast, that doesn't mean that we don't do the tikkun. It says pray, learn Torah, and give charity, because also those steps have a great beneficial spiritual benefit to the life of the person. And now he comes to one of the final messages of the time of the Shovavim. And then Be'ezat Hashem will resume the regular schedule of the Chok Israel. So it says as follows. He said this already 3 or 4 times since we started last week to review some of the suggestions of the Moed Kol Hai. And it says, Izaher miberid halashon. It says, one given formula that helps the person to preserve holiness is the way that a person talks. And the Pasuk says in the book of David HaMelech, Amarti, Eshmera derachai mechato bilshoni. David HaMelech says, I will start protecting myself by measuring the way I talk. Mechato bilshoni. I don't want to sin through my speech. And how do we sin with speeches? How do we sin through the power of speech? So interesting enough, he brings a list. Number 1, shelo levarech beracha levatala. Meaning to say berachot accordingly. Not extra berachot are not necessary, and don't skip berachot. But the important, which we discussed at length over a week ago, shelo leladlek bibirchotav afilu ot ahad. Make sure that when the berachot are being recited, that we pronounce the berachot properly. Don't skip Hashem's name. Don't skip Melech HaOlam. As we learned last week, say the beracha. If the beracha takes you 3 to 5 seconds, that's considered a beautiful beracha. And how long is 5 seconds? 5 seconds. A long time. So let's practice one time for the audience. A proper beracha, as we learned the other day, is a beracha that is pronounced word by word. Hashem's name is there, Melech HaOlam is there, and we pause. Baruch Ata Hashem. Let's measure. They will give me 3 seconds and I'll start. Baruch Ata Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam Shehakol Nihiya Bidbaro. 4 seconds. No, you didn't say Hashem's name. Right. You want a real example? Okay. Do I need to do kavanot before?
Please.
No, it's fine. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Shehakol Nihiya Bidbaro.
Amen.
Now,
the more people answer, you get a bigger say.
100%, yes. Velo yenoder ve'eno mekayem. Make sure that promises are not being made and are not fulfilled. Why? First, there is a mitzvah from the Torah that says, Mosa sefatecha tishmor be'asita. Our words are our signature. So if a person makes a promise, that promise needs to be kept. That's why there is a backup plan known as Hatarat Nedarim, the nullification of promises and vows. Occasionally, sometimes a person needs to do it. The Jewish world does it before Rosh Hashanah, before Kippur. In Israel, and in some synagogues of the world, they do it every Friday morning in order not to enter the Shabbat with unkept promises. And sporadically, sometimes people made a promise that they are not able to fulfill, so they need to come to the rabbi. They have to tell the rabbi needs to find a petach, the rabbi needs to find a halachic opening in order to cancel the promise of the person. Now, continues and it says, Also, Esev. Esev means sadness. The Pasuk says in Bereshit, Esev Mazria Zera. Please pay attention to the words. Why do I say this? Because in Hebrew, it makes sense what I'm going to say now. But to translate it in English, I have to write a whole Megillah. But I'm going to keep it short and to the point. Esev. I need a Hebrew speaker, naturally born in Israel. You have any in the room? Esev. Okay, what's in English the meaning of the word? I'm going to write it down because it's important for the audience to see. In Hebrew, what's the meaning of the word Esev? Grass. Grass. Okay? Now listen to me pronouncing Esev, Esev. What's the difference? Hazak Baruch. You in a row today. Unbelievable. Next word. I'm going to show it to you in a second. What's the meaning of Esev, Mazria, Zera? A grass that is able to reproduce itself. Mazria, Zera. Zera means what? Descendants. But it comes behind Palachi and it says, Esev, sadness, causes the sin of Zera levatala. Esev, Isabon, sadness, Mazria, Zera. What's the name of this sin? Zera levatala. Mazria, Zera in English means, respect to the ladies, causes the seed to flow. So it says, Esev, sadness is an enemy to the person. And that's why yesterday's message was lismoach, to be happy, especially when it comes to midot, to mitzvot tovot. Continues, Velo yishma kol shir she'eno shel kedusha. Don't listen to non-Jewish music. Rabotai, he wrote this 200 years ago. I ask you a question. Can you name me a singer from 200 years ago? No. Non-Jewish singer? No. Hazal Baruch. Can you name me? Don't do that. 5 non-Jewish singers from today's day? Don't say it. Because that's tum'ah. Okay? People, unfortunately, you have it there?
Yeah, I got it.
Beautiful. People, unfortunately, don't understand that non-Jewish music have a very detrimental influence in the life of the person. And you may say, Rabbi, why? It's about love. I understand that. Love is important. Love to your wife, love to your kids, love to Hashem, love to your parents, your in-laws, your relatives. But who are these singers? What type of lifestyle they have? What kind of attitudes they have? What is the content of the lyrics? What are the words? What lifestyle are they promoting? Or are they exposing? So we understand that all that brings, it comes, I should say in English, the power of tum'ah. Like we mentioned the other day, against having non-kosher pictures in a home. And I brought the example. There is a concept of a person having pictures of hachamim in their home. Picture of your family. But don't put pictures of someone that has a deviant lifestyle, or an NBA player that you cannot even see the color of the skin because they are tattooed all over. Haz v'shalom. But this is what's happening in our generation. So we need to make sure that the boundaries of holiness are kept. And again, he spoke in a time that MP3 players didn't exist, wireless Bluetooth didn't exist, So if you wanted to listen to non-kosher music, you needed to go to a certain place that they used to play non-kosher music. And I'm sure that 200 years ago, the Goy music was 1,000 times more kosher than the music that it is today. Continues and it says, he brings a couple of things, but I'm going to decide to skip them today, because could be a bit heavy for some people. And unless you have an open mind from a spiritual perspective, what I'm going to say now could be heavy for a lot of them, unless you want me to say it. You sure?
Put our bullet vest.
You already have your your bulletproof vest. I'm gonna summarize it on the 21st century example. I need to go back. He wrote this 200 years ago, where the lifestyle of mankind, it wasn't how comfortable it is today. Bedroom for the children, bedroom for the parents. Meat sink, dairy sink, Pesach sink, for those who have it. Her bathroom, his bathroom. His and hers. Baruch Hashem, today we live very comfortable. But let's go back 200 years ago. How people lived. One bed, Hazau Baruch. No bathrooms. So you know what he says? He says, make sure that the hole in the ground where you make your bodily needs should be completely covered. You know what it means in today's society? In plain English, make sure the door of your bathrooms are closed. That's simple. Why? Because no one can deny that the bathroom is a place of tum'ah. We need to understand, Rabotai, how clean our homes are, and the cleaning service, and automatic washing machines, and automatic, how do you call the Roomba? Right, the vacuum cleaner?
Yeah.
It's called the Roomba. Now you're wet and dry. Can you imagine? They're mopping the floor for you now. And they have an artificial intelligence chip that they find the dirt in your house. Sure, that's a new one. It's called the Roomba. You're not going to dance Roomba. But why they call it Roomba? Because it dances. It goes around the room. It goes all around and picks up the dirt. Without, can you imagine, you don't have to mop the floor anymore? You don't have to use the sweeper anymore? But this is the world that we are in. Now you have Alexa, you have Siri, you have the other lady from Google, I think, you know, you talk to them. And they talk back to you.
They have robotic room service now.
Robotic, I know. Robotic room service as well. It's unbelievable what technology brings. But with all that being said, toilets, bathrooms, still remain a place of uncleanliness and unholiness. And that's why, according to Kabbalistic writings, a person should not speak in the bathroom. Yes, that's what's written in the holy books. Don't talk in the bathrooms. Why not? I know that it's heavy what I'm saying, but you came to a heavy-duty synagogue. To remain the same and living the same is not chokhmah. Just stay quiet and don't say anything. The sky is blue, beautiful weather, have a nice day. But Rabbi Chaim Palachi wants us to really understand what is part of the essence of life. The visible aspect of life and the hidden aspect of life. So we receive a virtual question if you're allowed to text in the bathroom. It's a good question. You just came in through the World Wide Web. I'm listening. Yes. Anyways, check the back. Anyways, the short answer is yes and no. Yes and no. So, if the question is about Torah matter, definitely don't answer it in the bathroom. Because for you to answer the question, you need to read the question. And you're in the bathroom now thinking about Torah. By the way, as a rabbi, it happens more often than you think. But what about a regular texting? The short answer is not a problem. And let's clarify. It doesn't mean that if you are talking in the bathroom, a person is committing a transgression. God forbid. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that the power of speech is so powerful that it gives the strength to the forces of impurity that reside in the bathrooms. You don't see them. You don't feel them. But I ask you, can you say a beracha in the bathroom? No. Can you say a beracha in the shower? No. Why not? It's a shower. Because it's an area where the person is usually undressed. And the bathroom is a place where a person relieves whatever is unpleasant from the body. So we understand right away that there are certain places that godliness is revealed and exposed, and certain places where godliness is hidden. By the way, if you want to see godliness, the bathroom is one of the best places to see godliness. Why? Why? Ask me why. Excellent question. Short answer, because your body is functioning. And that is the beauty of the beracha of Asher Yasar. Again, my intention, the beracha that we say when we come out of the bathroom, my intention is not to make anybody's life difficult and challenging. But what I'm trying to reinforce is what the great Moed Kol Chai says. It says, don't minimize whatever action you do. Every action has a reaction. If the word is nice, as we mentioned inside, if you make peace between your friends, if you make peace between husband and wife, if you speak in a pleasant way, if you don't talk during prayers, if you behave in the synagogue not talking when not permissible, etc. Why so much emphasis is given to the topic of speech? Why so much? Because speech has a direct influence in the person. Speech, a promise that is not kept, has v'shalom. You know who pays the price? And I'm going to say this openly, so no one misunderstands the Gemara. But I'm going to give you the mild version. A person who makes a promise, and that promise is not being kept, you know who pays the price? His wife and children, besides the person themselves. And I'm giving you the mild version of the Talmud. And you may ask yourself, haram, why the wife and children? So I'm going to give you the reasoning behind it. Your speech, it's your extension. Your wife, it's your extension. Your children are your extension. That's why the Gemara makes emphasis and it says, do not promise. Don't make promises. Especially promises that you cannot keep. And sometimes the person is very loose with the vocabulary. I promise you, I'll be there at 10 o'clock. I promise you, this is my cost. I promise you, I forgot. Every time we say the word, I promise, you are activating a heavenly judgment against the person. Why? Because making a promise and not keeping the promise, has v'shalom, it creates a delay of acceptance of our daily prayers. Do you understand? Do we understand? You may ask yourself, why, Rabbi? Short answer, because prayers and promises come from the same source, from your mouth, from your speech. The more we keep our promises, it expedites the delivery system to our prayers.
How about if they say,
Belineder.
promise to this, Belineder?
That's beautiful. If you say Belineder, you are in the right track. You are in the right track. Another thing that he brings is before a person goes to sleep, should have thoughts of Torah. Besides saying Shema Israel, etc. And as we mentioned the other day, lean on the left and then turns to the right. Say Shema properly at night. And this also helps you to wake up in the morning, etc. on a timely manner. I will do one more if you allow me to. Actually, three more. Three more. Because they are short. And we'll save the final balance for tomorrow, Belineder. It says, take advantage, and you're going to love this. Take advantage of the situations in life that are available to us, that they have great benefit on the life of the person. What is the great benefit? Izaher badevarim denimhalim avonotav. Be observant, be careful to observe them in the situations that forgive the sins of the person. What is the first item on the list that brings forgiveness to the person?
Compliment.
Okay, you saying compliment? You say teshuvah? Doctor, you like to say something?
No.
No. That's good. That's a smart answer. Professor? IT tech guy?
What's the question again?
What causes certain mitzvot or certain actions that we do that brings teshuvah, brings forgiveness to the person? Staying quiet is good. We're getting warm.
Avoiding anger?
Avoiding anger is super good, and they are connected. He says, mevater, bringing peace. All these are beautiful answers, and they are all good, and they supplement each other. But you know what it says? Listen to the rabbi's speech. לשמוע דרשה מפי החכם. You know where this is brought down? Also, in the laws of Pesach. The Kaf HaChaim says, בשעה שהחכם דורש, הקדוש ברוך הוא מוחל עוונותיהם של ישראל. The moment that the rabbi speaks and you're listening, God is erasing the sins of the kahal. Unbelievable benefit. And I'm not looking for new customers. Baruch Hashem, I got plenty. Plenty. At all levels. The question is, why listening to the rabbi's speech brings kapara? You know how many times people shake when the rabbi speaks? Hacham, levanta. You know how many times people shake when they see me standing in the pulpit to give a speech Shabbat morning? I know my customers. I know my kahal. It comes to a point that I need to be conscientious and look at the clock and say, okay, you know what? Keep it short, keep it sweet. But we always have to say some words of Torah, not only for this only, but especially because Baruch Hashem, each and every one of you that are here today and are here every day, and those listening to the class via audio file, or those watching the class live, you have no issue with this. Because the fact that you stay here and you listen, it's a good sign. But you know what Borei Olam says? You had a choice of not staying for the class, grabbing breakfast, listen to 3 minutes, say shalom to the rabbi, and leave. But what did we decided to do? To stay. Because you stay, I'm talking. And guess what? Borei Olam says, wow, you stay to learn Torah, to listen to Torah, I'm going to reciprocate to you. I'm going to start erasing Averot from your account, which is an unbelievable gift. And this is also mentioned in the laws of Pesach. Why? Who doesn't know the laws of Pesach? Forget about the complicated questions, but simple halachot of Pesach. You know, 3 masot, you split the second one, part for the afikoman, you dip the haroset, the masa, and the maror, manishtana, misharotam, you drink the 4 cups of wine, and all the sedarim. Why do we go year after year after year, repeating the same halachot? By the way, halacha from one year to the other doesn't really change. Although, no, basic halacha does not change. Halacha could change based on technology. Modified to a certain extent. Now you have a new machine that came out. Brand new. Maybe a week old. You know that today, when you buy an appliance, you need to be careful what kind of appliance you buy. The simpler the appliance, the better it is. But today you have Shabbat mode fridges and refrigeration. In the olden days, it worked, unscrew the light bulb, dayenu. But today, the fridge is like a mini airplane. You have weight, temperature, alarm system, sensors on Shabbat. All this creates a problem. So what do you need to buy? If you buy a simpler fridge, you have nothing to worry about. But your wife doesn't want the simple fridge. Your wife wants the Electrolux, the Samsung, the Kenmore, the one Hashuv, the one that tells you that you're running out of milk. By the way, there is such a machine now. You put the milk at the door, and it senses the weight on the barrel of milk and tells you, remember to buy milk. And it shows in the digital screen. They can also order Hazal Baruch. Now there is a new one, the fridge that becomes an oven. And you manually play with an app and changes cool setting to hot setting. That's too sophisticated for today's class. But now you have an oven, Shabbat mode oven. Shabbat, for example, refrigerator. So now GE came out with a new machine, with Ashgaha. It has 5 Ashgahot, 5 supervisions. OU, Star K, CRC, and I don't know who else. What is this machine? You're going to love this machine because you're the gadget man. Okay? I think he works for Google or Microsoft. I don't know exactly for whom. But I tell you the following. This machine, you program all your devices of the kitchen into one system and automatically calculates candle lighting time and Mosa'e Shabbat time to disconnect all the technological aspect of the machinery. Unbelievable machine. It just came out a week ago. I got the link because they know that I like these things. So I started to read and it says unbelievable. Unbelievable concept. Okay? But life wasn't always that way. So, you know Pesach laws. You have a choice of staying home. Says, I know what the rabbi is going to say. Dip the celery into the water and salt and don't eat a kazait, not to say borei nefashot. But we make the effort and we come to listen Torah, and we already know the Mishnah in Pirkei Avot that says that when 10 Yehudim are sitting down to learn a Torah class, Borei Olam is sitting among them. So you are being told God is coming to the rabbi's class in honor of Shabbat HaGadol. God takes pictures of everyone that came. You came, you know what? We're going to erase Averot. We're going to erase Averot. So don't minimize the value. Have a great day. Don't minimize the value of the rabbi's speech. But I repeat to the listening audience, the rabbis also need to be conscientious, especially Shabbat morning, that people want to celebrate Shabbat, and many of us have been here since early morning, but overall, whenever there is a Torah class, try to participate and to sit down. 1 second. I have 5 more topics to talk about. Very brief, and then we'll give you the chance. Bela'anot amen yehe shemeh Rabba mevarach. Say amen.
Amen.
Answer amen properly. Yehe shemeh Rabba mevarach le'alam ulameh al maya. Say it properly, word by word. So far, how much effort does it take to answer amen yehe shemeh Rabba? Not much. Listen to the Hazan. Make sure not to be talking and answer. Not much effort. Listening to the rabbi's speech. How much effort you need to make? Nothing. Come to the knees, have a seat. You can have a nap if necessary. This reminds me of a true story, by the way. One day, the fellow comes to the rabbi and he says to the rabbi, Rabbi, because of your speech, I wasn't able to sleep last night. So the rabbi feels very honored. Wow, my speech was so good. He says, no, I fall asleep during the speech. And then I couldn't sleep at night. You understand? Okay. Number 2, Amen. Yeshem Rabba. Number 3, Shirat Hayam Besimha. We learned this back in Perashah Beshalach. Saying Az Yashir and Bayosha with happiness. Why? Mohalim lo avonotav. How much effort takes to say the Shira? We say it every day. The next one is not easy, but is important to understand. Lekabel haisurin be'ahava ubrason. To accept difficulties of life with love. It's not easy.
No, it's hard.
Of course it's hard. But you know what? Lefum sa'ara agra. You know what it's telling us? If a person accepts what's happening in their life, like Nahumish Gamzu, by saying, Gamzu letova, this is happening for a good reason, that also brings the person the emunah and bitachon in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. La'asot seder korbanot, to read the korbanot the way we discussed in the past. La'asot b'torah lishma, to learn Torah for the sake of Torah learning and becoming better and closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And now he finishes, V'nika ha'ish me'avon. This is a cleaning solution for the neshama of the person. So let's recap the last ones that we said. Number 1 on the list, listen to the rabbi's speech or rabbi's class. Number 2, answer Amen Yehe Shemeh Rabba Mevarach properly in the synagogue. Number 3, say Bayosha as Yashir with happiness and joy. Number 4, accept what's going on in our life, because at the end of the day, one of the basic components of emunah is what? What is the basic emunah? Let's call it guideline. Everything is from Hashem, right? Mm-hmm. And everything that happens is for good. And everything that Hashem does is good. You understand? So if we understand that everything that Hashem does is right, and everything that Hashem does is for good, and nothing bad comes from Hashem, and I'm sorry to use bad, but people need to understand that there is a difference between good and bad. what it appears in our limited eyesight that is bad is actually good. Like the story of a fellow who wanted to donate a kidney to someone, and they were looking for a match. And finally a cousin is a suitable candidate to donate a kidney to his other cousin. And it says, let's do the testing. This story goes back 30 years ago, just for the record. I know that we had an appeal for renewal this past Shabbat, but this story goes back 30 years ago. And to make a long story short, it comes the day of the surgery. They pray, both cousins, and they wish each other refuah shelema, because there is a procedure, recovery afterwards, etc. And after a few hours that the surgery was done successfully to a certain extent, and the anesthesia was over from the body of the donor, let's call him the donor, the doctor says to the donor, say thank you to your cousin. It says, doctor, I'm the donor and he's the recipient. He says, we could not use your kidney. It says, why not? Because when we started to remove your kidney, we saw an infection in your liver. And if this would have been unnoticed, you would have not made it. So go say thank you to your cousin. You thought that you were saving him, he saved you. And Baruch Hashem, they found.
He was doing a good deed.
Yes, but it's fine. It's fine. Mahashava tova mistarefa lema'aseh. What I'm trying to say is that sometimes a person goes through hiccups in life, and you can look at it from a face of Tisha B'Av, or you can say it's the end of the world, it's the end of the day, and you say Baruch Hashem, could have been worse. Could have been worse. And that's what he says here. So guess what? When you say, could have been worse, Baruch Hashem, that this is it and nothing worse, on that moment, you are activating Rahamim from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to come. You know, a person experiences a financial loss. How can you react? You can say, Baruch Hashem, I lost in the stock market and nothing else. Or God forbid, could have been medical bills. Haz v'shalom. Which one do you want it to be? Not medical.
Easiest one.
The easiest one. The easiest one is when it doesn't affect your health. The easiest one is when it doesn't affect your body. Then it affects your bank account. Nish gefer lach.
Come back.
It will come back. Like the story of Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa's daughter, that they were so poor that she had no oil to light the Shabbat candles. And what happened? She comes crying to her father, Dad, the only thing I have to light the Shabbat candles is vinegar. I have no oil, and vinegar is not a flammable liquid. So what Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa said to his daughter, whoever says that the oil is a flammable liquid will make the chametz be a flammable liquid. Amen. This is how you see your world with emunah. And that's why people have different levels of dealing with problems. The more emunah we have and bitachon in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the easier we deal with the challenges of our life. It's a recipe for life. I'm giving you now the best advice that not a therapist or a psychologist will give you. I'm giving you based from the Torah. Be'aboteach ba'Hashem chesed yesobebenu. I didn't say it. Yesobebenu. A person that has trust in Hashem. Why doesn't David HaMelech says hama'amin ba'Hashem? A person that has faith in God. Because we need to understand the difference between emunah and bitachon. Emunah means to have faith. You have faith. We all have faith. But bitachon means activating our faith. You have faith when the bank account is full. You have faith when everything is fine and dandy. But the moment you have a hiccup, you drown in a cup of water. That means that you have no bitachon. And your emunah is external. אנחנו מאמינים, אינם מאמין. You know the song? That song means we are believers, sons of believers, and we don't have anyone to rely upon our Father in heaven. That's it. And that's why King David says, Haboteach ba'Hashem. A person that has trust in Hashem. You have insurance? What's the name of your insurance? Hashem. Hashem. And that's why it says Boteach. Boteach from Bituach. Bituach means insurance. What's your insurance policy? Hashem. Again, I'm not telling you to cancel your Geico insurance or your life insurance or your building insurance or your hurricane insurance. God forbid. You work to pay the insurance. You don't eat, pay the insurance. Isn't that what they tell you all the time? Beautiful. Now what is the true insurance of a Yehudi? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. My dear friends,
Yes.
yes.
Does Hashem take away from your mitzvot lechaper al ha'avonot shelcha at any situations?
No. Short answer, no. He's asking
I read that somewhere.
if a person does mitzvot and a person does averot, if God deletes mitzvot for the performance of averot. And I said to him quickly, no. What I meant to say, the no, means that there is no trading between mitzvot and averot. You cannot say to God, God, okay, let's make a deal. I have 1,000,000 mitzvot in my account. I have 100,000 averot in my account. Remove restocking fee 20%, plus 100,000. Give me the net. Rabbi Moshe Cordovero says there is no such a thing. There is no trade-off. But to answer your question, there are ways that averot are wiped, that mitzvot are wiped out from the person's account. There are ways. How? If you complain about a mitzvah, let's say you invited people to your home for Shabbat, and they made a mess, or something happened, or you spent too much money in the grocery. You said, I shouldn't have invited them. When a person verbalizes a regret on a mitzvah, Shamayim says, device vus, tut men nishkan toives. For those who understand. You know what? Don't do me no favors. You don't want the mitzvah? We'll take it back. Never regret or complain about the performance of a mitzvah. Another way could be that a mitzvah gets wiped out. Mitzvah hava va'avera. If a person commits a crime and gives tzedakah, that's not really a mitzvah. You hurt people. You understand? I think that is the answer to your question. My dear friends, have a great day, everybody. I got to get ready for the next class. So, Shavua Tov. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen. Amen.